All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Maddie here, and today we're going to be talking about what I believe is likely the new strongest deck, or at least the best deck right now in this new early metagame. A couple of online tournaments have happened just in the first few days of Mega Rising's release, and as it turns out, Absol has been doing extremely well. Oh man, okay. So let's just go back a little bit. Let's retrace our steps to me over the last few days, talking about how I believe that Absol was not a very good card. I thought that Absol was definitely one of the streakest of the weakest rather of the Mega Pokemon, and I will go on record saying that. Now, to be fair, I did also say that I just didn't really know what we would be playing with Absol, but I did say at the time when I was reviewing the card that I'm sure something broken or obscure will come up with Absol in it. And guess what? That's where we're at right now. This is the deck that has been doing really well. Probably one of the top decks. I would say there's like really 3 or 4 new decks that are really high contenders or doing well in competitive play. This is the one that I'm going to showcase to you guys today. This is Oricorio. This is Oricorio, Pichu, Darkrai, and Absol, Mega Absol EX. This is a control type deck, and I think that it works really well with Absol. I think that Oricorio is exceptionally strong early on in new formats, in new metagames, and I think that this meta is no different. We're playing Oricorio with Pichu. Dark Energy's only for this deck list, but Pichus are not only there to allow us to set up Oricorio, but it just kind of works out in a way that, we can slow down the deck, which I think is really healthy for Absol, allows you to kind of take a couple of turns with Oricorio in the active spot, again, slow the game down, be a little bit of a control deck with Oricorio, but then also have Absol for the late game. That extra damage that Oricorio does, as well as Darkrai and the Nightmare Aura pings really do kind of add up to be something that's fairly, pretty dominant, honestly, so far in the tournament. So I will say this is a deck that to me has been kind of carried a little bit by Oricorio, as a lot of decks probably are early in the season. But this channel here, what we do on this channel isn't about showing, the funnest decks or the most creative decks, right? I'm sure there was a million content creators out there that made a Blaziken EX deck. I did actually want to make an Altaria deck, but I mean, the dominance of this deck so much so early on the season made it so that I kind of had to make a video on it. So, you know what? I apologize if this deck becomes everywhere. Listen, I'm not going to take credit for the deck list. I don't know who built it, but it's been doing well in tournaments. I'm just telling you guys what has been good and what's been winning games. So, yeah, we're playing double red card, double Pokemon Center Lady, double Giant Cape along with that Oricorio. Again, definitely kind of a control type deck. Red card works very well with Absol for sure. Double Cyrus, just because of the low amount of damage. We need Cyrus oftentimes to bring Pokemon back up to the active spot and win games. And then 2 Pokeball, 2 Research. And then we're playing 1 copy of Leaf as well, just in case maybe we lead with the Pokemon that we don't really want to lead off with. So here's the deck list. Honestly, I don't have too much else to say about it, quite frankly. Am I disappointed? Maybe a little bit, but you know what? We knew Oricorio would be good, and quite frankly, I think this is probably one of the more intuitive ways that you could play Absol, especially early on the season. People are going to ask me, what about this deck? What about that deck? I'm just going by the early results. Absol, Oricorio, absolutely dominating tournaments recently, which is crazy, and it's going to pick up and play a lot for sure. One thing I will say, though, is that this weekend is the first major tournament. The Pocket Mads Pocket Tournament number 6 is tomorrow. It's actually Saturday, noon Eastern time. That is going to be November 1st. So I'm really excited about that. Over 300 people registered already. So if you want to play in the largest first tournament, I would say like the first kind of major event of the Mega Rising format, then go and register. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. The results of that tournament will likely define the metagame. We've talked a lot in this intro. Let's get into some gameplay, I guess. Why not? To be fair, I think we're going to have a lot of free time on our hands to really talk about this deck and just sort of share our thoughts about what's going on in the active metagame right now. So, we're playing Oricorio. Not only that, but ranked battles are not here. In fact, the ranked season is not going to be starting up until November 27th, which means that we have quite some time until ranked battles come out. It's okay. There is an emblem event coming out. And like I said, we have the Pocket Mads tournament series. So if you're itching to compete at a high level in this new metagame, then go ahead and play in the tournament series for sure. Sponsored by Box.gg, $250 in the prize pool. Oh man, here we are. I can't believe it. We're playing Absol. It's with Oricorio. Who would have thought? You know what I mean? What's going on? Kind of a Halloween themed deck, to be honest with you, right? It's like a spooky, dark type Oricorio deck, in a way. To me, listen, people are going to be upset about this type of a deck. I'm sure people already don't like playing against this, but to be fair, are Oricorio decks ever ethical? Probably not, right? It's just about winning games. That's what we do on the channel, okay? I recommend games to win. This could be the mirror matchup right off the bat. We lead off with double Oricorio, Leaf, Pokemon Center Lady, and Cyrus. So not too great, I would say. This is going to be the mirror matchup, which is pretty funny. So the one thing about our deck list really is that Oricorio can't actually ever attack unless we set it up with Pichu, right? So most of the time, it's just sort of operating as this sort of wall. like it kind of did. Oh, the Dark Pennant is interesting. We get red carded right off the bat. I don't really mind that. I didn't bench the second Oricorio, but it is what it is. There's our Absol. We get a Darkrai as well as Giant Cape. These are all cards that I really don't mind having. And again, this is a bit of a slower deck. We do just top deck the research, which is nice. So, and I think that the slower pacing of this deck actually kind of lends a little bit well to Absol in general. We are going to bench that second Oricorio right off the bat. We're going to thin the deck out here with Pokeball. And honestly, we have every card we need for our entire deck. Very unique here. I guess we could maybe leave a space potentially for Pichu, but to be fair, I don't even know if I ever really want to do that. I'm going to attach to Oricorio here in the active, and I'm probably just going to, does the math work out with Mega Absol? So it's 80. So if we cape to 190, theoretically, we're not getting 2 KO'd. Well, I guess it's 80 damage, so it doesn't actually matter regardless. So I'm just going to keep the Oricorio for now. And I'm going to bench one Absol because this definitely will be relevant. He is playing Dark Pennant, which is something we're not playing. We're playing more of an Oricorio tankier build. The other thing to keep in mind, though, is that he might not actually be playing Oricorio. He could just be playing like Hydreigon or some other version of Absol, which definitely would be a little bit scary. And there's other ways to play Absol, quite frankly. Now, he will still be discarding supporter cards. We got to keep in mind with his effector, even though he won't be dealing damage, which is pretty unique. But anyway, we just happen to draw into 2 different supporter cards, one being Leaf, which is unfortunate. So either way, let's just pass here. He's going to discard one of these, probably a Cyrus. We are playing multiple 2-ofs of our deck, so it's not that big of a deal, and we don't see any other Pokemon on his board, so we can kind of just go into Absol here. He's going to repel here. That's fine. We'll just feed him the Oricorio for sure. That's why we benched the second one. And let's see if he takes Leaf here. Now that he brought up the Oricorio, he probably will, I would assume. Yeah, you know, it's an interesting. Yeah, he grabs the Leaf. It's fine. Stalling for an additional turn is probably smart. What's interesting here, we probably shouldn't have attached Oricorio specifically for the retreat play, so that was a misplay technically, but it's whatever. Theoretically speaking, you should attach to your attacking Pokemon and then just attach to the Pokemon the turn you're going to retreat. Here comes the Silver. Again, so like in the mirror matchup here, none of this really matters that much, right? Like I'm going to get the first attack off on his Absol. He can theoretically get rid of the Cyruses, but we're playing 2 copies in the deck. The Silver is interesting in Absol because it's a little bit counterproductive, right? Absol discards a supporter card and Silver shuffles it back into the deck. So it's weird to me that to play Silver with Absol, like that just seems a little bit strange in my own opinion, because quite frankly, you know, like you're removing or you're getting rid of the supporter card that you would like to discard. You know what I mean? It's just a little bit strange in that sense. Yeah, anyway, let's just go into our Absol and hit here. And this is the upside to Oricorio, as you're seeing right now. I am actually going to bench the Darkrai just in case he maybe has like a potion or a healing card here. This will hopefully bring us up, or it'll allow us to 2-hit KO Mega Absol, basically. So I don't know if he's playing healing, but that's effectively the strategy. Even if he is, we're going to discard it here with Darkness Claw. We don't have a Cyrus, but we do have 2 in the deck here, 8 cards in our deck, and we're going to hit. And as we see, he has his own Darkrai, Pokeball, so no supporter card, no healing there. He could be very well playing the exact same deck we are. It doesn't really matter. Darkrai Ping plus the Absol attack will take the KO, so he's going to be forced to retreat, which he definitely can do here, which might be a little bit scary, but he's going to Pokeball for nothing, so he might not even be playing any other Pokemon in his deck, just Absol, I guess, Darkrai, which is interesting. He's going to bench the second Absol and Darkrai. He has to retreat, of course, for sure. But if he does retreat, again, we can top deck a Cyrus at any point. We have 2 of them in our deck. So him kind of thinning out those other supporter cards is annoying, but at the same time, you know, it is what it is. The Darkness Pendant, also a bit annoying, but whatever he retreats into, we are 2 at KOing. He's going to be forced to go into Darkrai. Definitely a totally fine play from him. I don't mind it at all. And we grab the Pichu. So what I'm actually going to do here is, because I'm assuming he's never going to be able to retreat, I am just going to attack once onto the Darkrai, and then if I have to, I'm just going to retreat back into Oricorio and just wait. That's all I'm going to do. Because it really just comes down to, you know, getting that first attack off on the Mega Pokemon, and then, you know, yeah, like get that Cyrus out of here. This is the Absol Mirror matchup is hilarious for sure. But I think that Oricorio is just such a valuable card in Absol specifically, because it allows you to kind of breathe for a moment. Oh, this damage I forgot is actually really relevant, because he can bring it back up technically. But we have our own Cyrus, so it's GG, LOL. This is why we play double Cyrus in the deck, as we talked about. Anyway, here we go. This is the deck, guys. Is this what you were expecting? Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Is this what we wanted, truthfully? I'm not saying this deck is going to completely run away with the metagame, but what I will say is that this deck is very sound. It seems very strange on paper, but truthfully speaking, this deck is very good. Again, double Oricorio, double Pokemon Center Lady, double Giant Cape is going to auto-win any matchup that can't really play against it. And then the Absol Darkrai stuff, you know, it is what it is. I mean, come on now. It's interesting, right? I think that it's a good inclusion, and I think that it fits into like the control archetype, the control style of Absol that we kind of like to see. So you know what? If this is the control deck for the format, then fine. One other like kind of Oricorio control type deck that is doing extremely well early on this metagame is going to be Greninja Oricorio, the traditional Greninja Oricorio deck, which again is a strong option. We're leading Pichu going first, which is ideal, to be fair. And we're playing a grass type deck, and typically grass type decks have counterplay to us. He's just going to concede, I guess. This is the issue with playing, the casual battles, is that it's really tough to get like proper gameplay, to be honest with you. I assumed that we were just going to hit a bunch of Blaziken in this video, but maybe not. But we're just going to do it all in one take. You know, at the end of the day, there's no ranked battles. It's hard for me to get real gameplay, and I can't sit here all day and showcase a deck list. So what we're gonna do is just play for like a half hour here on the casual battle, see how it goes. But like I said, I would say that this is definitely one of the top decks right now. The other decks that I definitely think are really strong are Blaziken. What we're seeing actually is a different variant of Blaziken that's a little bit better into Oricorio, which is actually going to be look at this starting hand, by the way, just absolutely insane. The other sort of there's two different Blaziken variants. One is definitely a little bit better into Oricorio. That is going to be without Entei. But in general, I think the Entei deck is stronger. It's just a little bit more better. And we are playing like the mirror match again here. So people have already caught on. I guess I'm late to the party here, discussing, my Oricorio Absol deck. It is what it is. We're going to keep the Absol here. We're going to research. And yeah, I mean, this is the world we're living in right now, right? And I think counterplay definitely will emerge. Double PCL hand is definitely going to be nice here, but we're going first, so we're going to get that crackly toss off onto our Oricorio with the giant cape and double PCL. We're going to be able to just sort of smack away for a while, which is definitely nice. But yeah, as we see, we've already played like that Absol mirror twice. I think that Absol was definitely one of the Pokemon that most people were excited to play. I'm not sure that they were necessarily planning to play it like this, which is why, I think some people might not be like super happy about what's going on, but at the end of the day, we play what's good. On this channel, we're just recommending what decks we believe are going to be the most relevant in the metagame. I'll just cape this Absol. I assume he's not playing Guzma. Deck space is very limited, I would say, in this metagame. So, it's interesting, with the 20 card decks in the Mega Evolution Pokemon, there's just more than ever, it feels like there's not enough room in our deck list. So we're going to see a lot less decks that just have a couple of Pokemon. Most of the decks are going to be pretty Pokemon heavy. That's sort of how the new game design is for this new metagame, which I think is fine. And what that's going to lead into is being a little bit more selective with the trainer cards. And as we see, we're just absolutely dominating people on the casual battles here with Oricorio Absol. It's going to be really tough to get like real gameplay with this deck. It's just, it's not ranked, right? So people are just going to concede immediately if they don't think they're going to win. Everybody's testing decks. It is what it is. The other deck that I'm really interested in, again, double Blaziken decks. There's the Entei version. There's the Cleffa version. I don't think you want to really play Entei, to be fair, into Oricorio because it's just another 2-prize Pokemon that's likely going to take damage and is definitely a little bit of a liability, I would say. And it just kind of slows the deck down. Whereas when you're playing Cleffa, you can just sort of play like the non-EX Blaziken and then more consistently go into that and deal with Oricorio, which I do kind of like a little bit better. We're going first here. Let's lead Oricorio. Likely, again, also the mirror matchup. Again, I guess we're just sort of behind. We're behind the curve. Actually, okay, so it's Eevee here. Maybe it's something different. Who knows? Maybe it's Umbreon. But I don't mind the Eevee EX with Oricorio in the active. I'll tell you that for free. And let's play the research before the Pokeball. So, yeah, man, we're just doing our thing. Double PCL in hand. There's the Absol. Let's Pokeball as well. We could red card right off the rip, but we're going to wait for sure. And the Pichu. Okay, so I'm going to bench both of these for sure. We'll bench these both. I'll hold the red card. And then, maybe we top deck a Leaf. We can go into Pichu. If not, I'm honestly just going to attach Retreat into Pichu and then accelerate energies. Because it's worth it to get the lightning energy onto Oricorio, even if you sacrifice the Pichu, because on the back end we have Absol, you know what I mean? And here is the boosted evolution Eevee, which is pretty cool. Does he draw some cards here? He does play research, so I'm glad we held the red card. Let's see if he plays anything else this turn. If not, we're going to red card that 5-card hand very, very quickly. And yeah, one thing that you're going to see early in seasons is just not that many people, and he does retreat into boosted evolution. Is he going to evolve here? He does immediately evolve into the Umbreon, which is very interesting. I like that play from him, actually. So anyway, let's try and keep this Oricorio so that we can live 2 attacks from this Umbreon, which is funny. And as we see, if it's a basic Pokemon, it can attack, which is definitely a little bit tough. I am just going to play the red card here immediately, I would say. And then, yeah, I'm going to actually retreat into Pichu because I don't mind like letting my opponent take a prize card, and I'd rather be able to go into Oricorio. I know this Umbreon is here, but we have double PCL in hand. I think this is probably fine. We want to be able to KO this in one shot here with Absol. So I still believe in kind of setting up Oricorio here. There's a case to be made to just like set up Absol, but again, Absol doesn't do enough damage. We don't have Darkrai, so this is what we're going to do. We are going to get KO'd, but it's fine. We could have caped the Pichu and lived an attack here, but I would rather just get the HP on the Oricorio. I want the Oricorio to be a little bit tankier here. Because 40, like with PCLs, like we're just going to live like 3 attacks here. And he is playing Hydreigon. Okay. Hydreigon Umbreon, this is definitely a matchup that we're not super excited for sure. But this is the type of decks like that we're not going to love going up against, right? Or like non-EX aggro decks. Those are the things that Oricorio just struggles with traditionally. And that's, you know, in the same vein of what we're kind of going up against here. So luckily, though, we do actually grab the Darkrai, which is pretty cool. So we'll get the damage here off on the Oricorio, and we'll just hit, and then we'll start attaching to the Absol after this, and then hopefully we can kind of carry through like that. Maybe we get lucky and he doesn't get the Hydreigon, but Hydreigon is an absolutely incredible Pokemon. It really is like one of the strongest cards in the new set. It's just a little bit awkward because I think people right now are trying to find the best ways to play it. He's going to Copycat here, so just get 3 new cards. The cool thing about Copycat, which is also one of the best new supporter cards, is that it's basically Iono, but better, right? So that's the plus side. He does get the Sylveon Evolve here, so he's absolutely cruising. He's doing pretty good here, but once we KO the Umbreon, I think we're kind of home free. His only attackers are dark. He's only playing Dark Energy, so... And he does get the Hydreigon off the Copycat, which is crazy. Good for him. Likely just going to KO us this turn, I would imagine. Oh, no, he can't retreat. Okay, so that's also a good thing. All right, totally fine. Totally fine. We'll KO the... We'll set up the Umbreon, or sorry, the Mega Absol, my bad. I guess what we could do is technically heal, but maybe we wait now to heal up the Mega Absol. Not that it really matters, but the interesting thing here is that Hydreigon will be able to just 2-hit KO Absol, which is actually kind of terrifying, and we don't love that for sure. So Hydreigon actually does end up countering Absol pretty well in its own right. So we were kind of hoping that he, you know... Oh, he can attack, I forgot. So that's funny. All right, yeah, I mean, sure. Why not? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe the damage on Oricorio wasn't worth it. To be fair, I don't know. I don't really know what's happening anymore. He got the Copycat into the Sylveon, into the Hydreigon. We're playing a very, very bad matchup here. We are going to get Sabrina, which is hilarious. Hilariously bad, in fact, for him to have like all of those cards that he just had. That's kind of crazy. I guess we go into Absol because it doesn't matter. We're going to lose this game regardless. If we go into Darkrai, we just get KO'd, right? So he's just going to Dark Binding us. It's fine. I don't care about it. Honestly. So the play here, I believe now, is to PCL so we don't get KO'd. Likely. And then we'll just kind of KO like this. We could retreat into Pichu, but do we really want to? Yeah, let's do it. Because Oricorio is not going to be that useful, but we can tank a hit and then go back into... Oh, I forgot we can't attack because we're a basic. That's pretty funny, actually. All right. I'll go into Pichu here now then. I keep forgetting what Umbreon does, honestly. I don't know what we're doing here, but hey, we're trying our best. That's what matters. That's what matters here. Now, Darkrai does live an attack, which is definitely kind of a unique scenario for us in this particular moment here. So if he stays in, he's going to Copycat again. If he stays into Darkrai, if he stays into Umbreon, then we can KO and then live an attack from Hydreigon, hopefully. And then go from there, but it's probably not super likely that works out. We'll see, I guess, but... Okay, he takes the KO here. It is what it is. What are you going to do? Nothing we can do, quite frankly. Okay, let's try our best. Hydreigon does take 30 damage, so we can kind of force him maybe not to be able to do that, which is, would be ideal. Let's research here. We're going to be just very limited in terms of like the Pokemon we can use, which is tough, but I guess we'll just bench the Absol. Maybe we can pivot into it or whatever, but that's the thing with Hydreigon is it's kind of like a ticking time bomb, right? We might be able to pull this out. It's kind of unlikely, but you never really know, right? You never really know. Yeah, get that Cyrus out of here. Yeah. Okay. So he's going to go into Hydreigon here, but like he bought enough time to where he could actually just manually attach to it. Oh, he's going to go back into Umbreon. That is probably also the correct play. So he's going to bring me to 120, but we do have the ability to heal back up and KO, which is actually going to be really unique. So this works out fairly well for us uniquely because we have PCL in the hand. But, oh no, we can't attack. I keep forgetting. Umbreon is absolutely insane. It really is. Bit of a crazy Pokemon, I will say. We're going to Cape and PCL, and then we're going to attach Darkrai here. And then we'll be able to retreat and set up the KO, which maybe works out for us. We'll have to see. But yeah, let's PCL here. We do just lose, unfortunately, to, what is it, a Cyrus, which he actually has guaranteed because he's got 0 cards in his deck. So I guess, theoretically speaking, we do just go down because he can Cyrus up the Oricorio, but... Yeah, it's a tough one. This is definitely, I would say, like probably our worst matchup possible. He actually just throws the game for some reason. I guess he has Cyrus anyway, so he can just KO regardless. But yeah, that's kind of funny. Anyway, I think he's probably just BMing. I don't think this is ever a winnable matchup. I think the Hydreigon Umbreon is like literally the perfect counterplay to our deck, which I find to be very unique. But we know he has Cyrus, and we know, or did he already play it? I forget. Maybe he already played Cyrus. I don't know. It's an interesting scenario. We KO the Umbreon, but I assume, oh no, he's got no cards left. So we already played the Cyrus. I guess I missed that. But he does take damage with the Hydreigon, and we'll be able to like actually bounce between Absols here, which is kind of funny. But I think like he's just going to be able to bounce the Hydreigons enough to where I don't know if we're really going to be able to do anything, which is funny. But I think we might just win the game here, right? Uniquely, because like we can just go into oh no, I forgot we're at 130 HP. That's really bad. I attached to the wrong Pokemon then, my bad. LOL. Okay, sorry. I forgot this Absol was at 130, so that's on me. My bad, y'all. But he has to actually use his little energy thingies to for this to work. So he's gonna roar in unison, right? And he takes 30. And he does attack. Okay. Yeah, okay. All right. I think we attached to the wrong Pokemon, unfortunately, but what are you going to do? And he's actually going to live like perfectly. That's actually unfortunate is that he's got just a little bit extra HP. If we had attached to the correct Pokemon there, actually, it wouldn't have mattered because we never would have been able to attach to Darkrai regardless. So like, unfortunately, Absol only does, 80 damage. So he lives at 40 and then he can roar in unison to retreat and he lives on 10 HP. So, okay, we probably made a bunch of incorrect plays there, but to be honest, I assumed we weren't running this game from the beginning. It actually came down a little bit to the wire, but yeah, unfortunately, RIP to Absol only doing 80 damage, because we couldn't have gone into anything else there, right? So, if we had attached to Darkrai, then we technically, yeah, like it wouldn't have actually mattered, like, you know what I mean? Theoretically speaking, the only way to win there would have been to get a ping off on Darkrai, but we needed to the 2 energies on the Absol to make that happen. So maybe, I don't know. Did we attach to the wrong Absol there? We probably did. I forget. I don't know. I really don't. No, because we couldn't have gone into Darkrai or the Absol. I don't really know. Either way, that's probably one of the worst matchups you could face, Umbreon, Hydreigon. I do like that deck, actually. Very, very unique. We've yet to hit a Blaziken. We've yet to hit a Gyarados or an Altaria or like anything that, our deck theoretically would be, used to play against. But hey, we're doing our thing here. What's cool about the Altaria deck is that they can play the non-EX Altaria, which is actually a really good counterplay Pokemon for Oricorio. It kind of just can KO pretty easily. So anyway, yeah, man, we're having a great time. Looks like we're now playing Fire, and we do lead Pichu, Pokeball, double Mega Absol, which is cool. We're going second, so we're not going to bench anything yet. Hopefully we don't get like red carded, but I assume this is probably Blaziken. It is, okay. So when it comes down to playing Blaziken, you just hope they don't get the non-EX Blaziken, because that will just body, of course, your Oricorio, but it is what it is. All right, what do we pull here? It's a giant cape, okay. So we would like, it's either going to be Darkrai or Oricorio. Yeah, Oricorio is good for us. Going first, Entei's not that big of a threat. I am going to bench Absol, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to giant cape it because I don't think it really matters that much in this matchup because Oricorio will be getting KO'd by the Blaziken regardless. So now we can attach Absol and then we can crackly toss to Oricorio and then go into it and start doing some chip damage. Double Cyrus definitely going to be somewhat relevant for sure. So the other thing with Absol uniquely is that it just doesn't 2-hit KO a lot of Pokemon, which is really where you're kind of reliant on the Darkrai and the Oricorio to deal that extra damage. You know what I mean? But like I said, if you're playing the If you're playing Blaziken right now, I would highly recommend that you play the non-EX Blaziken. We do see the Rocky Helmet stuff, so maybe he is reliant, potentially, on not playing the Blaziken. Some decks don't, but the second Entei does come down here. So anyway, we will see. The Entei variant, though, I would say probably also is playing like an Oricorio killer, like whether it is, what are people playing right now? They're playing like Heatmore or what's the other one? Like Torkoal, I guess. Some people are playing Torkoal. I don't know. It's interesting. He's going to attach to the Entei here. I am going to red card him. That's a huge red card top deck. I like that for sure. And now we can go into Oricorio. We are taking a little bit of damage, and we are a little bit susceptible to like a Repel or a Sabrina play, but this is obviously the play to make. Free retreat, baby Pokemon are insane. Shout out to Oricorio. Valuable chip damage here. Now we can just sort of put on pressure while like setting up the rest of our board state in Absol and bringing it in later. We also have double Cyrus, one in the hand too. So it's gonna be a fun metagame this weekend. I'm really excited. Partly just because I think that the massive variety of new decks is going to completely make the metagame be different than it ever has been, which is really cool. So if he is playing the non-EX Blaziken, he will inevitably draw into it because he's just going to be legendary pulsing over and over and over again. We would actually like a second Oricorio, probably, but we'll see. We are living in attack, so either way, it's pretty relevant. Do we even want the second Oricorio at this point, or would we rather just like... It's an interesting point. I guess if we just go double Absol, it kind of effectively works the same because we can just like the strength of Absol, truthfully, is that you can set up two of them, right? And then what happens is that you're discarding their supporter cards, so you can kind of guarantee that they're never going to be able to Cyrus up the Absol if you retreat from one to the other. Like that is sort of the inherent like big strength of Absol, which I do really like. It's just unfortunately to me, like I don't know. Like, unless you're playing Oricorio, the deck just doesn't do enough early on. You know what I mean? Like, you need something in the active to really buy you time. And I think that's kind of what, what Absol does here for sure. Or what Oricorio does with Absol, which I do like. So, no PCL. It'd be nice if we drew one here. Rare Candy comes down. Is this going to be... It's Blaziken EX, which is totally fine. We're not 2 at KOing it, which is a little bit terrifying, but... Maybe we get an attack off with Oricorio. Who knows? He's just going to Legendary Pulse. We definitely want a PCL. Like, for sure. We don't draw one. I guess it's fine because we still don't KO ourselves. I guess we will go down to burn, though, which is unfortunate. But probably fine to just go Absol into, like, quadruple Absol, I think. We'll just take the KO on the Sente here for sure. Why not? And yes, we'll go down to Blaziken's burn, but whatever. Really not that big of a deal because we'll just go into Absol and then discard whatever supporter cards he's got and then just retreat into Absol. And then we just sort of like quadruple attack this thing until it goes down. You know what I mean? Like that's the reality. He actually goes back into Entei, which is fascinating. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why he would ever do that, but hey, to each their own, I guess. Okay, all right. So this is another Blaziken. Is this the non-EX Blaziken? I'm curious. It's not. Okay, so he just doesn't really... Maybe he doesn't know about the burn. I assume he would know about the burn, but he's setting up double Absol here. Now he's going to Flame Patch to Entei to retreat. Double Flame Patch, retreat Entei. This is a strange play. I don't know why he would ever do this, but... No, he's just going to Legendary Pulse. Okay. So we're going to hope for the PCL top deck, but we have Cyrus in our hand. Yeah, the PCL top deck, baby. That's why we play 2 of them in the deck. Absolutely broken. We also had a Giant Cape in the deck as well. So, again, like the way this is going to work out is that... Like, he'll just never be able to win, right? Because we're going to discard cards from his hand, and Oricorio is just going to stall, right? So unless you're really playing, like, a specific card in your deck, whether it's Blaziken or Gyarados or Ampharos or like Altaria, like, you have to play a Pokemon that just can KO Oricorio, or else, like, you're just going to get outpaced. And Absol really is a deck that if they set up double Absol with double energies, like, you can't really deal with that because they're just going to discard Cyrus and then retreat. So that's the strength of this deck. That's sort of the core understanding of it. Yeah, that's just how it's going to go. I guess we'll just research here. Chillin'. And there's the Giant Cape. Exactly what we wanted. Absolutely broken. Double Cape, double PCL Oricorio, man. It's a throwback. It is. I feel great about it. Okay. All right. Yeah, guys. So listen, going into this weekend's tournament, definitely understand what's going on right now. This is sort of the biggest like control deck right now that's kind of popped up. It's really strong. And again, Absol fits really well with Oricorio. It's not something I really thought of at the time for sure. It just wasn't really what I imagined Absol being. I kind of thought Absol would be a Pokemon that we tried to get out early and put a lot of pressure on. But no, I guess Absol really just kind of works like as a late game, like double option control deck, right? I mean, what you just saw there is like the board state is like, you use Oricorio and just get double Absols set up, and then it's kind of just like really difficult to do anything. You know what I mean? And Oricorio can survive a lot with PCL and Giant Cape. So as we saw, like the Rocky Helmet burn stuff, it's not going to be enough. Our opponent did misplay there, but typically it's not going to be enough. So what I would really recommend, if I'm being honest, like is to play like an actual Pokemon that can take the KO. That's actually going to be my recommendation. So keep that in mind. If you're playing Blaziken, try to fit in the non-EX Blaziken, maybe Lily as well. And then if you're playing, like, I don't even know, if you're playing Altaria, try to put in an option for that as well. You know, just try to make all of that happen here. I'm actually just going to attach to Absol here. And I'm going to research right off the bat. Going second Absol lead is also unique, right? So I kind of, again, talked down to Absol a lot. But one of the credits I did give to this card was that going second leading Absol is actually going to be quite strong. It's just not a reliable way to win. And I think Oricorio kind of fixes that problem, quite frankly. So again, this is a very smart deck. It's a very, very good deck. I know I talked down about Absol. Inherently, I don't think Absol's that strong, but you know, it fits well with Oricorio. And Oricorio, of course, one of the strongest, best decks or best cards in the entire game. So early on in the seasons, Absol's really strong. We are going to get red carded, but whatever. We're just going to hit for 80 next turn. Not super worried about it. Another red card, Pokeball Cyrus. Why not? He does evolve, so he does just straight up go into the Mega Gyarados here and Heavy Helmet. So are we going to see potentially him getting 4 energies on this thing? I don't know. I think he just loses, quite frankly, because he doesn't want to KO me either. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one for this guy. The extra damage, though, it's funny. The new the helmet card here, what is this card called? Heavy Helmet. It actually works pretty well, right, with Gyarados, which is cool. But we're going to be discarding supporter cards here, stopping him from healing, hopefully, and we'll just bench an Oricorio as well for good measure. But yeah, the Darkrai damage plus the Absol, I think, should just result in us winning, inevitably. We're only hitting for 60, but the damage from Darkrai will matter for sure. So yeah, get that research out of here. LOL. We're showcasing this deck in varying different capacities today, which is pretty cool. So, you know, this might not be the most riveting gameplay. I understand that, but hopefully he doesn't top deck Misty and go crazy here. You know what I mean? That's kind of the hope. I am going to cape the Absol, though. Why not? And we'll start pinging to the Darkrai. So this is going to be 80, and we are 2 at KOing. And like I said, he's just not, unless he top decks like an Irida to heal or whatever, we're going to be fine. And again, we're living in attack anyway, so I don't really know how this ends up working out for him here. I like Gyarados. Let's talk about Gyarados a little bit. Quite frankly, I think that Gyarados, he's playing the Milotic version. I think Gyarados is strong. Unfortunately, it's just, it doesn't have the pacing consistency, right? It's a very, very strong Pokemon, but in this metagame, I think that the front end of your deck is really valuable. So setting up like a single attacking Pokemon like Gyarados can be really strong. I think the concept here is that we're playing like Milotic and Irida and like in a Heavy Helmet, and we're just sort of going into Gyarados and hoping that it can sweep through your opponent, which it definitely can. But again, you kind of want to be like a little bit faster, right? And if you lead off with anything that's maybe not proper, then it's tough. It's also really hard to include an Oricorio counter. So I think, honestly, one of the biggest downsides to Gyarados, truthfully, is just going to be the fact that it's weak to Oricorio, and that there's really nothing that feels great to play in Gyarados to kind of counter Oricorio. Also, it's just a little bit slower, right? And this metagame, even with Mega Pokemon, is extremely fast-paced. A lot of the decks are just really fast, and Blaziken attacks for 2 energies, Absol attacks for 2 energies, Altaria attacks for 2 energies, so it's just a little bit tough, I think, to play Gyarados, even how strong the card is. I just think that there's enough pacing, to be fair. And not 1-hit KOing anything is definitely like a big deterrent for Gyarados, right? I think Gyarados will absolutely sweep through anything with 140 HP or less, but everybody's playing Megas, and I think that Gyarados doesn't do very well into other Mega decks. So that's my concept here, or my kind of interpretation. I think our opponent just rage quit here, unfortunately. They just got soloed by the Absol. Yeah, guys. I mean, listen, this is I had to showcase it, okay? I'm not here to show you the most fun decks or the most, unique decks or intricate decks or interesting decks. That's not what we're about over here, okay? You watch my channel because you want to know what is good, what wins games, what's competitive, what's best, and this deck here is doing it, okay? Shout out to Absol, because I disrespected it, but listen, we've seen bad cards get carried by Oricorio before, okay? It's nothing new. Shout out to Oricorio, the absolute GOAT of Pokemon Pocket. Please counterplay Oricorio. I'm actually just glad that Oricorio has a real purpose in this metagame, because what we saw a lot last season was Oricorio just not being relevant, and I think it really did deter from the overall kind of variety and health of the metagame. I think that Oricorio is absolutely crucial to a healthy metagame in Pokemon Pocket, and why not? Let's just showcase it here. Dark Oricorio. I'm calling this Dark Corio. That's what I'm going to call it. I like the deck. Mega Absol, absolutely insane. It really isn't that good of a card, but it's hilarious because it just works with Oricorio really well. Maybe this deck is completely irrelevant in a week or two. We have no way of knowing. But right now, going into this weekend, going into Pocket Man's tournament number 6, this is definitely a big deck here. It's going to be very impactful. Again, Blaziken great, Altaria great. A lot of really strong decks. Like Jolteon is really interesting to me. Greninja Oricorio is another really strong control deck. There's just a lot of things, a lot of new things. We're getting a feel for the metagame. I'll probably do a tier list sometime, later, in a couple of days for sure. But I wanted to get a gameplay video out here. I was thinking about making a Blaziken video, but then I was like, you know what? Everyone's making Blaziken videos. Shout out to Absol Oricorio, an absolutely insane deck. Comment down below. What do you guys think here? I apologize for showcasing this deck list, but at the end of the day, I got to show people what's winning games, and this is winning games. Definitely a very, very interesting deck. Is this what you expected? Comment down below. Is this what you expected of the new B1 metagame? We'll have to see, definitely. What decks are you playing? Are you playing this weekend? Comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And shout out to all of the channel members. Shout out to the Discord. Shout out to everybody. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm just having a good time. So anyway, let's get out of here, guys. Peace out. Have a good one. We'll see you guys later. And yeah. Bye.